Hey there! If you want to build out a van, but you feel a little overwhelmed with all the choices and all the different things that you can put in, and it seems like so expensive and so hard, and if you want to maybe keep it a little simple but you don't know where to start, I'm going to show you some things that we find are not really necessary to have in a van that are going to keep your build a little simpler and a little cheaper. Hey, yeah, this is a bit of a weird setup, but I don't know, with the sun and the face and the shadow, this is the best I could find here, okay? Please bear with me. Welcome to my channel. It's like 9 o'clock. We are in the Valley of Gods. Pretty cool here. Let's start. One thing that you don't really need necessarily is a toilet. I know, I said it. Or maybe a cassette toilet. From my research, people with a cassette toilet don't really use it for number 1 and number 2. They only pee in there.
Only use this for number 1.
Because cleaning that and emptying that is hell, from what I heard. I can't imagine so. I can't imagine that is not cool. It's like basically an expensive pee bottle that you have to clean more, and that is harder to just dump out. That's my opinion. Everything here is my opinion, so yeah, take it with a grain of salt. I'm sitting on a bucket, by the way. There's a lot of people who have composting toilets or something else, and you know, that is fine, but those things are friggin' expensive. Like at least $600, something like that. You know, there's very few cheap options. I'm sitting on a cheap option. It was $0. It's basically just a plastic bag, cat litter, pine litter, by the way. And that's it. I've used it a few times and it's worked great. Double knotted, maybe double bag it. We have pee bottles, a shovel. We have dog waste bags. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it works. With the pee bottle thing, especially for women, it definitely helps to have some kind of bench to sit on while you do that. Doing that while standing in a van, I did it the other day outside, just for funsies, and it felt scary. Like, I have my setup. We have an ottoman. Guys, please get an ottoman for the van. Like, it's so good. And I just like halfway sit on an ottoman, kind of like this. And then there goes the pee bottle. So I'm not squatting in the van. It's a comfortable experience. Without any toilet setup, it's not really necessary. You can do without it. Another thing that a lot of people have in their van that we decided not to, and no regrets, is AC power. So there's 12 volt and then there's the, what is it here, 120 volt. So AC, DC. We only have DC. It works just fine. You need less cable, less fuses. You don't need an inverter. Those can be quite expensive too, depending on how big they are, and they constantly draw energy unless you have like a switch. We have 2 phones, we have 2 laptops, we have a drone, a little blender even, and we are fine. If we need a real outlet, we have one tiny inverter that I bought like 4 years ago for $20. It has one little outlet and 2 USB ports. And you just plug it in the, you know, the 12 volt, the round thing. We have 2 of those outlets in the van. One is in the front and one that we installed. And another thing is that we have is an external battery, kind of like the Jackery. I bought it also like 3 to 4 years ago, and it still works great. It's also good to have an external battery for other reasons. So if you have to pump up your tires, we have a little tire pump, we can just plug it in there. That's our AC system. Fridges, most van lifers have those super expensive Dometic fridges, and it seems like that's all they have. But there's cheaper fridge options too. It's often just kind of the same thing. It's just off-brand again. And you save so much money. So we have an Alpi-Cool fridge, CF55, which they've been in the market for a while, and they have a good reputation and are still super efficient. Before that, I had an Alpi-Cool as well, just a smaller version. The one thing that would be nice if ours was a side door instead of a top lit one, but if you try to look for side door fridges that are DC powered, there is not a lot of options. I mean, there are a lot of AC ones, but they are usually not as efficient. So, you know, it's like, now plumbing. That is my forte, or I'm most passionate about that topic for some reason. Most people in their van builds, they have electric water pumps, and a lot of people even have hot water. Okay, I guess for people who have a whole shower setup and like a whole fancy bathroom, and that is great. And it would be nice, you know, of course, to have that. But it is not really necessary. Like, we decided not to have it, and sure, we're gonna be scrambling for a shower sometimes. That's just how it is, and it's fine. You always find something. If you don't have a whole shower inside the van, then you really don't need a hot water system, because that also draws so much power. And just for doing the dishes, it's maybe not as satisfying to do the dishes with cold water, but it works. The pumps, electric water pumps, I just don't see any reason why you would need them unless you have a shower in the van. I don't see why, because if you open the faucet, you're gonna waste a bunch of water. It's really hard to conserve your water with a normal setup. I mean, yeah, you have it in a house, but in a house you have unlimited water supply. Foot pumps are the best, and they make it so much easier. Also, setting up a foot pump in your van takes like 10 minutes. It's so simple. But if you have an electric water pump, you need a silencer kit, all kinds of different fittings, shut-off valve, filter, an accumulator. You need so much stuff, and it's gonna be so much more expensive. That's the biggest regret of our van build, that we did put in an electric water pump because we thought, oh, let's be fancy. No, big mistake. I switched it after the build was done. It's also much quieter. I don't know. A lot of people have one giant water tank in the van. I actually don't know how expensive those are, but if you have that, you usually have it kind of in the back of the van. You're gonna need more piping stuff and fittings and everything. Keep it more simple and have little water jugs. If you want to fill up your water tank and you only have the big one, you need a hose. Sometimes you need a long hose because you're not always gonna be able to park right next to the water source. Sometimes you have to go to a park. I mean, you're just not gonna be as flexible if you have this giant water tank that you can only fill up if you have some sort of hose. I bet that not all the faucets have a hose attachment. Maybe they do. And then when you use it, you have to make sure it's kind of dry. You don't have to think about all these things if you just have little water jugs. Little. Ours is 7 gallons. It's still a little heavy to carry if you have trouble carrying heavy things. Maybe you do just need a big water tank, because carrying 7 gallons with you, that's like super hard for me. But there's also smaller water tanks. There's also 5 gallons or 2.5. So we have 2 7-gallon ones, and we have 3 2.5-gallon water tanks. It definitely keeps it a little more simple, and it works great. We don't have any regrets to not have a big water tank at all. There's a lot of other things that are expensive that people put in their vans. There's just so many options. You just have to figure it out for yourself. Maybe that helped you a little bit too if you were on the fence with some of these things. Let me know in the comments if you have anything else to add, any other things that you think are unnecessary, or if you totally disagree with what I said. That's totally possible too. I mean, everyone is different. I just kind of wanted to make this video too, just to share what simple solutions work well for us that might work well for you too. I hope this was a little helpful for you. If you like this video, I would appreciate a little like. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.